Ordinance to amend Chapter 77, Parking Program, Residential, and Chapter 104, Vehicles and Traffic related to minor updates of parking regulations. Ms. Reiner, I think you're going to take this.
Sure. This is my first time ever doing this on my own, but I think I know what to do. This was advertised in the Daily Local on March 12th. We do have the hearing notice here as well as the amendment attachments if anyone needs to see them. Everything was posted online as well. This is just to modify some minor amendments to the parking regulations in both the residential permitting program, Chapter 77 and Chapter 104. Do you want me to just briefly go over the amendments?
Please.
Okay. The first is to add back in 10441, which is the parking prohibited on private property, which we accidentally removed when I first started here. So we're putting that back in so police can begin enforcing that again. We are also adding one handicap parking space and removing one handicap parking space. We are modifying 10467, which is parking time limits, charges, and hours of operation for various parking lots. And this is really just to clean up the enforcement of the lots throughout the borough. It's some of the enforcement hours, and some of them still listed meters when they were kiosks. And so we've cleaned that up so that they're consistent with how they're being enforced at this time. And then Section 5 for Chapter 77. Section 5 is, sorry. This is for the residential permitting program. I think this was just to make this consistent with the rest of the permit requirements that were required for the renters. So this requires, some of the documentation was not consistent with the verbiage that was for renters. So we're just cleaning up and amending so that the documentation and requirements are the same. Tenant occupied is also the same. The biggest one being that we wanted the registration to be consistent, that it needed to be, the vehicle needed to be registered to the property address. That was missed in the first go around in Section 6. Chapter 77, this was again a cleanup of the consistency of the requirements. And same with Section 8. So it's just making everything consistent, that all of the verbiage of each of the requirements all match. Section 9 was to include the areas for those parcels that were on 322 West Market Street that were part of a land development that Kevin Gore had asked to be included before he left. And we did not have the parcel addresses included in the last go around. And then Chapter 10 just updates what is required for a special business permit. That was a lot, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Questions, comments? Anything from the public? Okay. Thank you.
Make a motion to approve the ordinance as is.
Second.
Mr. Metrick, could you call the question?
Ms. Dorsey?
Yes.
Mr. Flynn?
Yes.
Ms. Vaccaro is absent. Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Mr. Travis?
Yes.
Ms. Shimoni?
Yes.
And Mr. McCoy?
Yes.
6-0.
So meeting to order at 6:41. And we just had an executive session for litigation matters relating land development and personnel issues. We will now do the Pledge of Allegiance led by Mr. Flynn.
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Next, we'll have comments, suggestions, petitions by residents in attendance regarding items not on the agenda.
Darrell Cook, South Walnut Street. The traffic report last week, I observed a 6,000-gallon tank truck north on South High Street make a left-hand turn onto Price Street, driving a wheel well over the curb. Friday, 8 p.m., a car parked Route 3, East Gay Street, east of Matlack Street, blocking a lane of traffic. It's many times you can observe the same thing there. 10 o'clock this morning, a car making a U-turn on the 600 block South High Street. I've seen that happen 4 times this year. 20 minutes later, I saw a car exiting Dean Street left on High Street. At the same time, a police car had a car stopped on the 400 block of South High Street. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, folks. My name is Jim Wiley, 401 West Lafayette Street. I just wanted to take a minute to introduce a concept that you may not have heard before called community choice aggregation, CCA. I encourage you to Google it. It's gaining momentum in Pennsylvania, and it turns out that only boroughs have the municipal code, the authority to operate community choice aggregation. And what it means is the municipal government has the power to purchase electricity for its constituents. So for the default case, so instead of PECO deciding what kind of electricity we get for people that don't choose a third party, the borough can decide, you guys can decide, where our electricity comes from. It's an opt-out situation. It's legal in Pennsylvania. If it's opt-in, anybody can do it, but only boroughs have the power to have it as an opt-out, where if you don't take any action, you're in this program. It's been for about a year. It's been there's a group of boroughs that have been pushing it, just discussing it with PECO and with the PUC. And I think in April, there's going to be a filing of I forget the technical term, but basically get it in writing from the PUC that this is a legal thing that the boroughs can do. So after that, I expect it to get momentum. There are 6 boroughs that have signed MOUs, memorandums of understanding. And for the borough of Westchester to do it, I think it's a conversation we want to have with the community. So it's going to take some time. We may even want to create a referendum to make sure everybody's comfortable with what's happening. So I encourage you guys to Google it, community choice aggregation. Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It'd be something for Smart Growth to talk about in the next couple of months. We got nothing else to do. Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, moving on. Comments by the Borough Council and Mayor, who is not here, and Sheila is absent. So, Mr. McGinnis.
Thank you, Mr. McCoy. I just want to point out that there is a new business that will be opening up on 15 North. It was formerly 15 North before that, and then it was split rail as of recently. It's called Beer Hall Townhouse, and the official opening is actually tomorrow, March 21st.
Thank you. Mr. Travis.
Yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out to the bid. They had just completed a complete rebrand of the bid. They have a new website, great new imagery. I think it's going to be an awesome opportunity to attract businesses, obviously to retain the ones we have, and really engage at a higher level with everyone that benefits from the bid. So shout out to them.
Thank you. Ms. Dorsey.
Thanks, Mr. McCoy. Just a quick acknowledgement and thank you to our residents and constituents that remain and engage in local government. Really appreciate the time and effort that you put into supporting our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Flynn.
Greetings from the sweetest ward in the borough, the 6th Ward. I got 3 things I'd like to share with you. The first one's a lot of fun. We're going to have an adult Easter egg hunt. It's the second time that we've had it in the borough. It's Friday, April 5th. The eggs will be filled full of prizes, discounts, flyers, tickets, discount cards, and gift cards from the various stores inside the borough. We've actually going to increase the number of eggs to over 200 eggs around the borough. So when you're wandering around the borough on April 5th, take a look for that. Second thing is parking. People always complain that parking is unfair in the borough. Parking is free all day Saturday up till 5 o'clock. All day Saturday. All day Sunday and all day Sunday night's free. So if you have an excuse not to come to the borough Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, come Saturday and come Sunday night. And the last thing is I want to give a shout out to the Public Works Department. We did a walk through the borough, and they have cleaned up Market Street to a point where it's extremely safe to walk. They've taken a lot of the trip hazards out, and they've cleaned the tree wells up and brushed up on all the trees. Public Works team did an excellent job. So remember April 5th for your adult Easter egg hunt.
Thank you. Ms. Simone.
Actually, I'm going to look for these eggs. So Nicole Shimoni from the 4th Ward. And I mentioned this last night. I want to mention it again, give a shout out to Courtney Finneran and Mike Dunn, who coordinated the stream cleanup this past weekend. I attended. I wore my high boots and actually was in the stream and collected quite a bit of trash along with the fellow people that were collecting with me. I mean, we did a 1-block radius and we collected like 20, 25 altogether. There were like 6 of us, like 25 bags of trash. It was amazing. So my shout out is to the team because they ran such a seamless event. I mean, it was easy. You just showed up at the Public Works, got some gloves, there were protective gear, and went off and gave trash bags and cleaned things up. And they've been doing this for about 9 years, I think. But I would recommend everyone, if you have the time, go out and attend one of these events that we have. And also just when you're wandering around, if you see some trash on the ground, pick it up, and take it somewhere because you don't want it to end up in our streams. And we want to keep things as beautiful and as clean as possible here in the borough. So thanks to them.
Thank you. Yeah, happy spring, everyone. It's nice to see everything in bloom a couple weeks early. So I'm not sure if that's a good thing or not. I'll take it right now. And then second, just a reminder, on April 21st is the 225th anniversary of Westchester, the parade at 1 p.m. So hope people attend. Thank you. Next item, Borough Manager's Report.
Thank you very much. I'm going to be pretty quick. I have the full reports available online as an attachment. I just want to highlight a few things that are happening or have happened or will happen. I am super excited to be bringing in a new director of building and housing. That person is going to start Monday, April 1st. As soon as we get all our paperwork squared away, I'll be sending around an announcement. But their marching orders are going to include looking at the accountability for our rental licenses and violations programming, creating a good pattern of proactive enforcement of property maintenance issues, and that's going to require coordination with Public Works and police. I think I want to see more collaboration between the Planning Commission, the Smart Growth Committee, so that we understand the subdivision land development review process a lot better. We're going to see the monthly reports to the Smart Growth Committee start up again. We are in the midst of, we're probably around 50% into full implementation of our information management system for building and housing. So you're going to see some information coming out of that system and some improvements in customer service for contractors and residents. And ideally, I want to work on departmental communication and make the building and housing department a friendlier, more effective branch of our operations. And I think the person we're bringing in is really well suited for those kinds of executive management functions. And I wish I could share the name and tell you all about that person right yet, but that's coming soon. In Parks and Recreation, you're aware that the master open space plan is underway. Council appointed a committee to serve on that. That's getting going. If you have any questions, contact Keith. Keith's also been busy planning the 225 parade, which is April 21st. It's coming up shortly. I'm also going to volunteer some of my time to help with a article that's going to appear in Westchester Press sometime this summer, highlighting borough services. Westchester Press is going to do a whole issue on the 225. So I'm going to be volunteering some of my time to put the word out about the good work that we do. And lastly, there are some pictures I sent along to Jeff and Bill, but I see the screen is not being currently manned, of the development at Minor and High Street. We're about 40% complete there. We're working our way around the corners, making sure that each one is done before we move to the next one, and ensuring that the businesses and residents have access to their properties while we do that. It's looking great. I think we'll be done probably in another 6 to 8 weeks and have close out and close the grant out. That's largely a grant funded project through Chester County. And coming shortly on the heels of that project will be PennDOT's improvements all along High Street, which will take up where we leave off on Minor Street and go all the way down to Rosedale. You'll see a series of bump outs and curb realignments to improve pedestrian safety and reduce the incidence of crashes. We got that money it's completely funded by PennDOT, and we got that money to make High Street safer because PennDOT looked at crash data on High Street and realized it was a good candidate for investment. So that is a $2 million investment, and we are trying our best to find a funding partner to help us upgrade curbing, brick sidewalks, and lighting on that corridor. We haven't heard back yet from that grantor yet. But that's my report and brief for this month, and I look forward to sharing more good news next month.
Any questions?
Thank you for the update.
Thank you. All right. Items for discussion.